In this segment, I'm going to talk about the chapter 1 of How to Interview Guidebook, the preparation portion when you get a call from the interviewer that you got an interview. What do you do then? You're notified with an email and you have to start preparing for it. The first thing you have to get by is you have to be able to get the job description and see how does it compare with the skills you have. And this is an evaluation process which you have to do so that you can link the job description to exactly to the skill sets that you already have. And if this comparison is done well, and then you have more skills where you compare well with the job description, then you have a good winning chance of getting the job. Now, when you go for the interview, they are definitely going to ask situational question. The situational question seems to be very easier, but it's the most tricky one because it is an open-ended question, and then if you start thinking at that time and start formulating the answer, sometimes you end up telling a lot more than what is required, or sometimes you might not be expressing yourself well than what is required. So to be able to be prepared to these situational questions, you can use the SAR technique, which is called the Situation Action Result Technique, where you come up with situations and then come up with the action and the results, and the actions you have taken and the results you have obtained out of handling the situation. So you got to be able to come up with these stories and practice it in front of the mirror several times so that this story becomes second nature to you, and when the interviewer asks these questions, you will be able to come up with the stories very naturally. And of course, they are not made up stories. They did occur during your work experience, but you'll be so natural in presenting it, at the same time presenting in the right manner, so it will have a very positive impact on the interviewer. So for this to be good, you got to practice it several times in front of the mirror, and you should have at least 3 to 4 different stories ready in your hip pocket so that you can deliver depending upon the questions people ask. And another last thing that I want to talk about is where is the job located? If it's located in the city that you're already living in, then you got to make a trip to the place and make sure where it is, so psychologically you're prepared for that, and you psychologically prepared to take the job and the job is offered to you. And secondly, if the job is going to be out of town where you have to actually relocate, then visit the town, not necessarily physically, but virtually have a look at the city, what the city has to offer, where do you plan to live, and all these things. If you do it, and psychologically when you're prepared to move to the city, and when the $1 million question is asked by the interviewer, will you move to the city if you get a job, then your answer, if you say yes, and the answer also will reflect your truthfulness because you actually went through the motion of actually going to live in the city. So these are a few things I want to talk about, which I described that in the chapter 1 of my How to Interview.